Hey folks, I was doing a little workout here and Don said you might enjoy seeing some of the things I do with my planer. This is a 1943 Rockford Machine Tool Company planer. It's a hydraulic planer. It was probably one of the last modern ones ever made. It has a large ram underneath that table. That table moves 90 inches. I can cut a piece of material 90 inches, 32 inches tall, and roughly 32 inches wide on it. I can get it up there, of course. That would be one heck of a piece of material. Got it set up there for the cutting end. That tool holder cross feeds across this way. There's another one down on the bottom that goes sideways, or excuse me, vertically up and down. The old girl is a war machine. She was built when they couldn't make them really pretty by putting a lot of fancy body filler and things in it. So she's pretty plain Jane on the finish, but she works well. Remember that hydraulic piston? Well, there's the end of it sticking out here. And if you look right in here, I don't know if you guys can see that. That's the other end of it, and then it extends from there. To get the fluid going through the machine, it uses this power pack. Got a 20 horsepower motor on the end. That's a tank down there. It takes about 60 gallons of hydraulic fluid. And you can vary the stroke power and the speed by some of these windlass devices on each side of the pump. Got this out of an old barn up in Kansas. Thanks to Jose and Hose B, they kind of made it all happen. And a lot of other people donated money to it. My friend Andy over in Austin needed to plane his table for his Bridgeport and the knee and everything else. And the cost for just doing the grinding of the table was $1,100. So we were sitting there thinking about it, and I looked at him and said, we need a planer. So the search was on. People on Practical Machinist helped me, and we found a man who wants to remain anonymous, so we call him Jose. And he had a friend named Hose B help us load it up. The thing weighs a lot. I forgot how much. I think the column alone was 7,000 pounds, 76 or something like that. We hauled it back on 2 trailers from Kansas, hired a crane, cut a hole in the roof, lowered it in here, and got it working. Took me about 9 months to get it all together. Lots of people donated to the cause to save an old machine. You know, this machine will never pay for itself. I mean, just buying 60 gallons of hydraulic fluid is enough to turn most people off. But it's a neat old machine, and as long as I'm around, it'll have a house to live in. We're getting ready to do some straight edge planing. My friend Don came over, and he says, it's been 10 months since we had a class, and I haven't got my straight edge yet. And that's because he makes me do everything else first. It's all his fault.
Liar.
No. This is his 24-inch Kingway straight edge as it was cast. I got a hold of it and ran it through the heat treating for stress relief. Got an oven I can do up to 4 foot with. And I'm getting ready to plane it. I've got to do all of these surfaces here. The color is the way it came out of the heat treating oven. All this was a rusty surface. And it's would you hand me that precision square, Don? Yes, I know it's
a carpenter square.
It's a carpenter square. Get over it. This side I've already put in and planed, and it's straight. Then you deal with other things like this. I don't know if I can hold that up, Don. This is typical. I don't know if you can see. It's over here. Now there's an 1/8 of an inch difference in here. Then wobbles come in here. But that's the way it come out of the mold. We'll take care of that. Now, I like these. Got about an 1/8 of an inch there also. Rocks. From a planing aspect, I like this kind. Richard's, I think his father invented these and he did a good job. It's got nice holes through here. I can reach in and grab things and set them up on my table so they don't move while I'm planing them. I've got 2 other examples that I've got to work on here. Move you over. Sorry, don't. If anybody's seasick, you better tell me now. This is a 4-foot with just one flat edge. It's already been planed. It's heavy as all get out. Just needs to be scraped and finished. This plane, as you can see, the holes in this one, they're big enough to where I can get fixtures through them and make things happen. And then you get to this one. This one, my friend Miles showed up. He bought it off eBay or somewhere. And this was a finished straight edge when he brought it to me. He said it was moving all the time. When you deal with 1/1000th of an inch over 4 foot, it's not uncommon for straight edges to change over the years. So he scraped on it and got it back, and then it would move again. So he brought it over, and we went through a stress relieving routine in my machine. And now it has to be planed and ready to go for him to scrape it. Problem is how in the heck do you hold on to something like this? Let me show you on this other one. This little setup is, well, you can't see over there. Would you go move the camera, Don? Rotate. This straight edge, I've already planed this surface, and the bottom surface is ready to be done now, but I'm going to show you this. This I can set up in these angle blocks and put something through it to hold it down. And then some 2, 3, 6 blocks back here, and Bob's your uncle. This, on a planer, your force is going this way. And so you must have something to stop the workpiece from flying off the table. And believe me, you can't stop this machine. That hydraulic rim, it'll throw this through the wall if you're not careful. But you also are trying to make sure that this surface is true to within 1/1000th of an inch is what I shoot for. And when the cutter comes in this way, it can pick it up a little bit. So you have to hold it down, but hold it in such a way that you don't induce stress into it, so that when it is released, it springs back. So my final cuts are like 1/2,000th of an inch, and these are just finger tight by that time. So, but when I'm taking off a lot of material like I'm going to have to do here, I'm going to have to hold it pretty firmly or be here all day. That's it, Don. It's taken 10 months because I've been working on this very carefully for you.
I understand. I see you made a lot of progress.
I did, yeah. Hey man, it's heat treated. Anyway, that little unit is going to present some problems. One of the main reasons is because this back and riving are bent like a banana. Camera doesn't do it justice, but there's a 1/4 inch difference between here, here, and here. This rib sticks out at an angle, but it's flat back here, which would be wonderful, except it's so bent. I'm going to have to play with it a little while. It had a chipped edge on it when he got it. And also, had some voids in it. I think this camera will show you. Right here. I don't know how deep that is. Now I've planed a lot of straight edges and a lot of them do have voids in them. It all depends on the person doing the casting. If that void goes down, well, where's my finger? There you go. That's how far that void goes into that casting. So what do? Well, if I cut 3/8 of an inch off of this whole casting, it'd be easier to use. It won't be so heavy. But that's a lot of metal to remove.
More likely the twist after too.
And it's probably going to twist, and I probably have to put it back in a stress relief. Now, I know. People say all the time, if you put it in a stress relief, it relieves the stresses. Well, I've done enough of these to know that it doesn't always happen that way. And if you take off the metal here, there is going to be some movement. So if I have to take something off like that, I take it off and then I put it right back in the heat treating and stress relieve it again. Then I don't have movement problems. Remember, this was a fully functional straight edge that would not hold its shape.
What about ringing?
Ringing? I know some people truly believe in ringing, and frankly, I haven't done any tests on my own to disprove it one way or the other. I've rung things. First, I thought I was going to break it, and I didn't want to break a $300-400 piece of metal. But people do it, and they may have good results. I don't know. And people have all kinds of recipes for heat treating things or stress relieving them. I go by a study that was done for the Navy. It tested all the different methods of stress relieving, and I'll link to it. You can read it online. And they tested everything from letting them sit out, big deal we used age castings for our machines. Well, they found that really doesn't do a bit of good. They found that the only reliable method was to bring the metal up to at least, I don't remember, 1156 degrees, in that neighborhood, for 1 hour per inch of material, and then step down as you were cooling it off. So that's what I do. I've got an automatic oven that I programmed it in. I put it in there, push a button, and walk away. And I haven't had them move after I've done that, unless I take a lot of metal off something. So this one, I don't know what we're going to do. I've used a product called Muggy Weld, and I've used another product that a caster recommended. Heck, it was just a paste like a Bondo. Technically, that one little spot right there in the total surface area is minuscule. It just looks bad. And if you're spending $500 or $600 for a straight edge casting and you get something like that, that's not,
Well, it can mess up your scraping too if it's harder than the rest of it.
Well, if I fill it with something and scrape it, if I were just to put Bondo in there and close that hole so no dirt or grit would ever get in there, technically it doesn't affect this at all. But it looks bad. The last product I found, and so far I love this stuff. In fact, I got a little video called No Fuss Tig Welding. This is a rod called Easy Weld TIG Wire makes this. I don't even know what they call it. EasyTigWire.com. This is heat number 37BH, 1/16 wire. Absolutely no preheating or post-heating if you're doing something with casting. So before I would use a silver solder or something like that. I'd have to heat it up and then let it, it's just a big mess to fill that hole. This stuff went in very well on the last two I've done. The only problem is as you're cutting through here, it's a different hardness than the cast iron. Once you get in below the surface of this cast iron, it's pretty soft. And it'll hit that and jump up a little bit. I've tried some carbide bits on it and it broke both of them, so I haven't done any more testing.
What would it do if you just planed it first, then fill the hole, and then hand scraped it? Would that be easier?
Well, if I plane it first and then I heat this metal up in this area, I've changed. Yeah. It could be out of tolerance by heating it, and it may warp it just by localizing one area.
Sure.
So whatever you do, you want to do before, unless you're using a cold process such as Bondo or something. Which, if this was my straight edge, I'd fill that up with Bondo.
Based on what you just said, I think I'd do it too.
Maybe someday I'll find another. I've tried a lot of these expensive. This rod's great. If you want to weld up, I welded up this handle. I think it's that one. Was it that one? Give me that handle.
That one, right?
Yeah. I welded this handle up using that product. And I just rough ground it back to shape to kind of match the rest of it. This thing was cherry red. No preheating. Welded it, filled it all in.
And that's cast.
This is all cast iron handle. Yeah. No peening. I didn't needle it. I didn't do anything. Got a video on it. I'll link to it. It worked wonderful. In fact, I'm going to use it to TIG on the end of the machine over here. I broke off the end of this table on this Brown and Sharp cylindrical grinder, and I don't want to mess up the ways, and I don't want to re-scrape and do all that. So I'm just going to start TIGging a little spot here and then a little spot there, and come back in 2 or 3 days and do some more. It's just to keep dust and stuff off of the ways. It's not going to hurt anything, and I think I can do it without messing up the alignment. All right, I've talked enough. Dawn's over there asleep. I put Dawn to sleep, so let me get set up with something and I'll start planing, and I'll bring you back when we go in. I should show you how I set up to do the different aspects of this plane here. Now, this planer does have a secondary head on it. This head goes up and down. And I can use it to do a surface like a vertical surface over here. But what I found, it's just not as accurate on this old machine as using this head. So I try to fixture everything where I only use this one. And so, I don't know if you can see it. And so, I use this piece of 6x6 1/4" tubing as a holder for all of these different straight edges. And as you can see, I've drilled holes and threaded some pins through there so that each different straight edge can be held up vertically, and I can adjust them. This gets clamped to the bed, and then I can use these slots with T-nuts to hold the straight edge in place, and it'll come up against this fixture right here and keep it from going anywhere forward. Remember I said you couldn't stop this thing if you wanted to? That was this way when I got it. I don't know what happened or who did it, but I keep it around to remind me that the beast doesn't like to be toyed with. Anyway, put you back up here and we will do more work. I'd like to thank all the new subscribers and people that come to see the last video. It's kind of shocked to see how many people like to see the old iron.
It is addictive.
It is. I'm trying to leave this set up in place. Usually I've done this and then moved this all off. But I just got to do this one edge down here, and it's already set up for this operation, so I'm trying to squeeze it all in. So give me a little time here. Well, it ain't that one. That's when you go and you dig out the big guns. Kind of show you what I'm talking about, big guns. There's so many different things you could do on a planer that you need tons of fixturing tools. Like for a 4-inch, for a 4-footer, I use these V-blocks. But then you got to have ways to hold things down. So I have all of these, more up here, studs, nuts, T-nut connectors. So Kennedy's groaning. More different tie-down bolts. And some little tool holders. I don't think I've ever shown Don these. Don't want to give him tool holder envy. All right, where was I? You never have enough 1, 2, 3 blocks. And I think these are the cheap ones off eBay where you get 10 for $15 or something. And for lining this up, I made a little short, quick, down and dirty tool. On this surface, it doesn't need to be absolutely parallel because we're cutting across the surface. But it doesn't hurt to be as close as you can. That's the other set. Good thing about Richard's straight edges is they all have pretty much parallel ribs. That other one over there, it's bowed on one side and up and down on the other. It's going to be fun to grab hold of. Trying to get it into a position that is parallel to this.
So you have this
table.
This is machined alright, so this is machined edge, right?
That's
Your reference edge.
Well, no.
No.
My reference edge to do this is this table. And that's why I'm using this old-timey tool here. Have it reach out farther than I normally do.
How is this, or how do you tell? Because this is so bowy and wavy.
Well, I'm trying to get a general
You get an
average. See, it's much higher down here than it is here. See, I'm scraping it there. Scraping it there. And then I'm getting an 1/8 of an inch down there. And then I can also use this.
It's off.
But I care more about this surface than I do at this point. So this needs to be kicked over. See, that's almost perfect there. Now I want to make sure touching there. Well, we got a storm going on.
Touching on two ends.
And I'm touching there.
Better.
So I got a wavy surface going. The only thing I know for sure is that this is the reference. I've got to square that shows me this edge that I planed first is now square with the table. I've got a height gauge that tells me roughly it's touching there, nothing in the middle, and touching down here. So I know I've got to take these two ends off. I could have this too high and plane a wedge into it. These castings aren't perfect. And so I'm trying to take an imperfect machine, a piece of metal, and make two of the surfaces perfect. This one and this one. All right. Let's tighten those up and check it again.
It moves.
When I tap it like that, hear that sound? To me, that means it's pretty solid. It's not ringing. That's good.
That's the hardest point right there.
It's just a little high right there, but it's low over here. But that's about the same as over here.
Close, so it's
So
kind of an average.
I got a wavy surface. It's off by 30,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
It's pretty close on the level, even though it's a weird surface. So I've got two hold downs on the side here, and I've got a block right there that I'm going to tighten up the screw. Keep it from going this way. I don't want it to kick up here, and it will, because this is just being held squeezed in there. So now I need to take and put something to keep it from kicking up on this end when the
Downward
bit
pressure.
hits it.
Put downward pressure on it.
Downward pressure. You know, I end up making all kinds of little goofy things to hold these things different. Okay, one thing I've learned is you clean off this table, or it's a self-cleaning table actually. Now, this machine can go very high in the air, but it only has about an 8-inch travel adjustment radius on the head once the arm's set. So as you can see, we're nowhere close to where that needs to be. And a couple things needs to happen. First, that bit I'm not going to leave in there. Now, I'm not going to leave this tool bit in because My friend Gary and I spent a lot of time getting a geometry that made a really nice cut on cast iron, and this is one I use for the finishing. So it's going to go up here out of the way, and we're going to put another one in for roughing. There they are. Now this would be great if it was up here. This does only have maybe about 8 to 12 inches of travel. So I've got to raise the whole arm up, and it's kind of a pain to do. First you got to sit here and unlock all of these bolts on the column. I just do 5 of the 6 because it's a pain to get to that other one. I always leave that there so I know. Then I have to walk around here on the back side and release 2 clamps here. Using a rubber hammer. And then it gets easier. It's going to get noisy. I'm going to turn on first. I'm going to turn on the 3-phase generator. That's not so bad because the motor's outside. Now I'm going to turn on the 20 horsepower motor that's back here. And I'm going to use the motor that is on top of that column up there to raise that arm up and down. I didn't eat my Wheaties, and I don't think I could do it by myself. Oh, cheers! That's good. Then you go back here, tighten up these clamps. Go back here, tighten all these bolts back. I gotta turn it on. This is the control pendant. It has 4 electrical switches to run this whole machine. Everything else is hydraulic. It's got a forward and reverse. I can rapid the heads with that, or if I pull this lever up here and engage the gear, it'll lift the column or lower it. has a start button for the hydraulic pump, and then a panic switch stop button down here on the bottom. Wonder how many times they took this back to the Chevrolet dealer to get it fixed.
There you go. It's heavy like a rock.
It's heavy like a rock. Oh God, I've got 2 rocks now.
3.
3. Well, I got a real rock. I forgot the real rock. Okay. We'll let this down to a height about right there. And then we're going to take it down in little increments after we do a few things. I fitted this one with a DRO. Don,
Battery dead?
my batteries are dead.
Well, you got a placket of batteries over here.
Your straight edge killed my batteries. Huh. Got to get a grinder.
One of these.
Ha ha! Oh my God, it's in millimeters. I don't know how to do millimeters. There we go. Thousandths of an inch. This does have a scale up here, but it's so little, I don't see how they did it in the old days. So I fitted a DRO onto it so that I can tell the exact depth. That was, of course, after I adjusted it the first time and it threw the workpiece across the room. All right, I need to move the table over here. I need to get a helmet so I can wear better glasses. And what I'm going to do, can you see me okay? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to now this is almost ready to plane. Problem is I need to bevel this edge and the leading edge so when that blade comes up over here it feeds in easily and doesn't tear up the edge. It'll take big chunks out of this. So what I've got to do here is the same thing, bevel it so that as the blade comes off it doesn't tear chips out. So. Now I usually keep my grinder over here on the side table because you use it a lot. Put that over there for me, please. Okay. We've got it held down to keep it from kicking up back here. We've got it up against this fence with light pressure. I'm trying not to put any stress on this, but right now I have it held pretty tightly because I'm going to take off some material. When we get down into the final stages, I'll loosen these up to where they're very loose and not putting any stress in there. Everything is off my table that can move. Don is out of the way.
I've seen this work before.
You've seen this do before. Well, I think the last time you saw it working was at a class last year.
That's correct.
Because I haven't had time.
That's correct.
You may be making me do other things. Okay.
I've just seen it work enough to know to stand back.
Stand back. Yep. You can't stop it. There is no way humanly possible. So don't even try. All right. I know that its clearance is about the same from watching it going down all the way. So now I'm going to drop it down and then move it over to the side and we'll start stepping across it. Okay, that should be clear. This is tight, that's tight. Setting the stroke weight. Let it go back a long way to have a chance to settle down. Would you hand me the safety glasses now? I've gone all the way across the surface and made sure that there are no high spots. I've taken it off in 2 or 3 areas there, but now I'm assured that when I take a cut, they'll all be no greater than what I set it for. Right now I'm going to set it down for 30 thousandths of an inch and we'll see how it handles. This is the hardest part. These castings have a crust on them, if you will. And once you get underneath that crust, it's much softer material. So getting under that crust is what we're trying to do now without messing anything up. I'm happy, I'm going to automatically feed. Can't hear you. I got it zoomed in. Don says you guys are blind and need it to be really close. Okay. And now I'm taking about a 1/4 inch wide pass. You thought it was nearly through cutting, but it still hit a little tip right there. Well, I let it go all the way through the cut.
See a little high spots there.
I would have stopped. I would have stopped, then I would have hit another one that would have took 30,000, 60,000 cut.
It's off now.
See how it cut that there, and over here? It means we got it kind of leveled up. Okay, 30 more thousandths. Oh, hit it. It went to 68, so we're going to just 30. Because I still don't trust the setup too much. Fairly heavy cut for the jig rig that you have, right? Put it in automatic now. Okay, give me 15 minutes. I'll finish this up.
I gotta go anyway.
From our 0 point, we've gone down 69 thousandths.
Well, you can tell the difference when you put it on auto.
Yeah. It switched it from a little bitty one
Yeah.
to a big cut.
Yeah.
Now,
But it looked like it worked all right because this didn't move at all. It didn't appear.
well, I've got it. But if you'll notice what's happening over here,
It's starting to get sharper.
yeah, we're about to lose our bevel. The bevel over here is fine, but this one's almost gone.
And you had to rebevel it.
So it's an ongoing process. You have to keep doing that. We'll get that down again. Then we'll take another pass. I'm not going to take off quite that much, but I'm going to let it go on auto. I want it to take off.
You're just roughing right now anyway, right?
I'm just roughing, but I don't want to put a lot of stress on the holding of this. I mean, it's just very hard to...
Yeah.
A lot of times I clamp this to make it set. That's 31 thousandths right there more. This one could stay up there. Alrighty. Take it out of gear. Move it back over. You just don't ever want it to cut.
You don't have to grab that front edge.
You don't want it to grab or hit any place because it'll throw it out of there. Watch out, I'm going to grind this through. Got a lot of rain today.
Seems like it's over though. I think that's it.
You think that's wind?
Yeah, because it's clearing up from it.
Okay. Can you hear the difference in the sound the bit makes? When it gets into that crusty one?
When it went all the way across. Hypnotizing.
Sort of like watching Let's Dig 18 dig out mud back and forth.
things really are, huh? One's flat, I guess.
I've had to take nearly a half inch off of the iron.
Damn.
It was bowed and it had an imperfection in the casting.
Probably about
I'll take that down a little bit more. Try not to get too much of it, but as you can see, I got a lot to take off, so this is gonna. If you don't do that, it'll tear a big chunk out of it. Okay, that's at 9 inches. Taking 27 off. Once you get through that crust, you can easily take off more. It's just bevel it gets taken off.
Yeah.
About 132 thousandths below our starting level.
that bevel on the back already.
Well, it goes fast when you take. Now here's where you hate it when a little hole starts to show. And you go into a friggin' cavern underneath. Then what do you do?
This would be a cush job running it back in the day, because you just set it up and then you just wait, right? Oh, as long as it stays put.
Yeah, it'd be hot. Today you said push the button, the green button. This one, at least you got to know a little bit about the machine.
Yeah.
Be able to tell if it's working right, set it up, get the cut.
But compared to other...
My God, you'd almost have to be a machinist to do this, huh?
Almost.
Taking off half that bevel. See there, even with that, it started to chip it a little bit.
Yeah,
So we're taking pretty deep cut for that right now. Now, this is roughed in. I'm now going to, see how crumbly that edge is? I'm now going to start finish cutting it. Finer and finer feeds, and well, we're going to go down another 30-40 thousandths of an inch finish cutting. See here how it kind of looks like it's chipping, or little chatters there.
Yeah.
That'll all go away by the time I get it down. But now I got all the deadgum crappy stuff out of our way.
It's fairly flat anyway.
It's flatter, and I got all the bad stuff out of the way. Now we can do the finish work.
So far, the casting looks okay. Huh?
Yeah, so far. Start. All right. See if you guys can. It's supposed to be on autofocus. See if you guys can see what I'm talking about. Right there. How it's starting to chip a little bit at the top there. I made that a pretty steep bevel. I should have made it a little bit more flatter. But bit's getting dull. And all of this is going to go away on the finishing passes. We're taking off 157 thousandths from when we started. We'll take off another 30 finishing it. And the more I take off here, the more this corner defect will go away.
When you want to take a couple more roughing passes and make that almost go away roughing?
I don't want to. You see how this is tearing out?
Yeah.
Well, that's tearing out too as
Yeah,
we're
true,
doing that.
True.
So I want to start being gentle.
I understand.
I've got to go take my wife for fajitas, so I got to stop right now before she comes out here shooting me. The rough pass is done on this. We're going to go to final finish, take 30 thousandths more off, and see how that corner edge is doing. May have to go down deeper to get rid of that corner, but we'll see. Thanks for watching. If you can, please subscribe. The reason I want to get over 1,000 so I can take care of the ads. I don't want ads playing in the middle of these videos, and I don't want ads that you can't skip. So if you help me to get to 3,000, we're over 700, excuse me, 3,000. Yeah, 3,000 would be good now. Subscriber whore all of a sudden. If you help me get over 1,000, we're at about 700 right now. I'd surely appreciate it. Thank you.